Okay, welcome to the Insurance 101 call. This is a call to where you're going to learn all the basics about Insurance 101. We do telesales, we do in-homes, we do setting appointments, we do one-call closes, we do it all. So you're going to learn everything, anything and everything about that here. Okay, if you are not doing $20,000 in annual premium per month, helping 20 families per month, you need to be on this call, right? If you're doing over 20,000 annual premium per month or helping 20 families per month, be on this call. This is going to give you extra nuggets so that you can learn, grow, teach your team how to learn and grow as well. And also it gives you a chance to participate, because on every call, we're going to do role plays. We're going to get together. We're going to go over the objections. We're going to get down and dirty, and we're going to help you grow and learn and become better and help your team become better as well. Okay. By you becoming better, your team becomes better. Okay. So this call, we're going to talk about objections and rebuttals for setting an appointment. Okay. Obviously, we know as we go through setting an appointment, we get objections, right? It's the number one stoplight to setting the appointment. Right? The go is the rebuttals, right? The green light is the rebuttals. So in order to set more appointments, we need to be able to overcome more objections. When we're in the home or doing a one-call close or doing a presentation, we're going to have more objections as well. There are going to be different types of objections. This call today is going to go over the objections when we're setting appointments. Okay. We work on this call. We work on the basic of insurance, which is final expense and mortgage. And so that's the objections that we're going to talk about today. Okay. So in the chat, if you notice, I put two PDF files. Okay. One is objections and rebuttals for in-homes, if you're setting appointments to do an in-home. The other one is objections and rebuttals for setting an appointment for either one-call closes or telesales, setting an appointment for a telesales conversation. Okay, so we're going to go over all of that. James, you got your hand up.
Can you resend those? I don't see them in the chat.
You don't see them in the chat?
Negative, sir.
Yeah, I will definitely do that right now.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, do you guys see them now?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So if you want to follow along, you're very welcome to do that. That's why I put them in the chat, so you guys can follow along. And so we can kind of go from there. So what I'm going to do here, so first off, what I want to talk about, the best way to get over an objection is to hide them. Would you mind? There you go. Thank you, sir. The best way to get over an objection is not to have an objection in the first place, right? And a lot of times by minimizing the objections, what we do is we just kind of let them know the process of what's going to happen, right? Here's an example. At the very, very beginning, sometimes, well, not even at the beginning, sometimes you'll get a shop around objection, right? They want to get a quote, right? And so by eliminating that, what I tell them is something simple like, look, I'm a broker, and sometimes you can sacrifice the word broker for field underwriter. Sometimes people like to use the word field underwriter. So instead of using broker, you can use that. But what I usually do is just say, I'm a broker. And so what my job is to do is to go over the options with you. I have access to about 20 plus A-rated carriers nationwide. So what that allows me to do, I don't say that to brag, but what that allows me to do is shop around for you, customize something that best fits your situation and your needs, but most importantly, fits your budget. Okay. And then once I deliver the rebuttal, Then what I'm going to do is transition right into the next thing that I'm going to ask them and take control of the situation again. When I take control of the situation, the person asking the questions takes control of the situation every single time. Okay. But that rebuttal right there, what does it do? It eliminates them wanting to say, well, I'm going to go shop around. I'm going to think about it. Right. They're not going to think about it because I'm their man. I'm the one that has access to pretty much all the carriers out there. I'm the one that's going to do the shopping around for them. I'm going to save the time. And I'm the one that's going to fit it into their budget, right? Because the biggest objection is the price, right? Everybody wants life insurance. Everybody does. But what they don't want is to pay for it, right? And so if we help them understand that we're going to fit it into their budget, that eliminates that objection and we could get around that. Now, here's the process. That's just an example. Here's the process of objections, right? When you object, when somebody gives you an objection, we don't want to combat them. We don't want to cause contention, right? We want to get on the same side as them. Because if we get on the same side as them, what's going to happen is it's going to break down that wall because they're expecting you to cause contention, to fight with them, to bounce heads, right? We don't want to do that. So by doing that, so how do we get on the same side as them? We're going to agree with them every single time. And you can say a few key phrases that help agree with them. One of them is perfect, right? I don't have time for that right now. Perfect. I don't have time for it either. My job is just to go over the options with you. I'm just calling to set up a time to do that. Okay. I got on the same side as them, right? Another one is I understand. That's too much money for me. I completely understand. According to your budget, it looks like that is a little bit too much money for you. Why don't we find something that can fit into your budget? The most important thing here is to get you protected, right? And at the end of it, if you ask a question like, right? Or like, do you agree? You get a little yes along the way, right? And that's what we want, is a little yeses along the way to help them agree with what we're doing along the path, right? So open up those objection and rebuttals. The one that says the objection handling workbook, that one's from Paul McLean. He's an integrity partner with Family First Life. You can even Google him, FFL Paul McLean, and you can find videos on him. He's the one that created that handbook, and that is the one that the majority of the people in FFL used when they were doing in-homes. That's what I started on, was that handbook right there. That taught me a lot of how to get around the objections. And here's the reality. All these objections are going to be used all the time, right? Everybody is going to use one of those objections, if not two or three, right? And once you learn the rebuttals to those, you memorize those, and they become a second part of your nature, to where they say it, boom, it triggers this. They say this, it triggers this. They say this, it triggers this, right? Once it becomes that fluent with you, you're going to be able to set so many more appointments. You'll go from setting 3 appointments to 20 appointments. There's no limit, right? And that's how you get good on the phones. 85% of this business is on the phone setting appointments, okay? Or doing one-call closes. The other 15% of that, well, I'd say the other 10% of this business is presentations, right? Doing the in-home, doing the presentation. The other 5% of this business is product knowledge. We have so many carriers and we have so many products. Why is only 5% product knowledge? Well, because you have a team, you have support, right? You don't need to know anything about the products, right? Your job is to set appointments. That's it. When it's time to set appointments, just focus on setting appointments, right? Don't focus on what am I going to say when I get into the house? What am I going to say on a presentation? That's what we're here for. That's what your team is here for. Even if you're not on live dials, you can take a picture of the financial inventory, send it to your manager, and they can give them a few minutes, and they can look up, okay, this person's 55, they have COPD. Let's tell them to write Aetna, right? And then you can even call them and they'll pretty much tell you how to sell it to them, right? So we have the support. So your job is to get good on the phone setting appointments. That's the majority of this business, because the more appointments you have, the more presentations you can give. And the more presentations you can give, the more families you can help. And the more families you can help, the more you can help your own family and your own community and your own friends and family and your church, right? And everything around it, right? So it all starts with setting as many appointments as you possibly can. Go for 30 a week. If you could set 40 a week, go for 40 a week, right? And so by doing that, you got to learn the objections and the rebuttals. Study your script, okay? Study your script, memorize it, get the concept down. You'll tweak it a little bit to fit your lifestyle, but do that. Then work on the objections and the rebuttals, okay? Memorize them. And that's what we're going to go over right now, okay? So I have the objections and rebuttals open for telesales. The first one is, I got to go, call me later, right? Most of the time when we're talking to people that have busy days, just like us, right? Maybe you caught them at the grocery store or they're picking up their kids from school. So what's a rebuttal? Perfect. I'm heading out of the office as well. You're busy just like them. They are, right? We're always trying to relate to them. And if you're busy and you're walking out the door, you know what? They know that you're in a hurry as well. And so after that, what I like to do is I'll say real quick. Real quick, the purpose of the call is to set up a time to go over your options with you. Now, I made this sheet here. I spent a couple of hours on this today, and I made this easy for you. Because at the end, when you go to set the appointment, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of that page, there's two parts. One's light green, one's dark green, right? You're going to go for a one call close first. And it says real quick, do you have a pen and paper handy? I'm required by the state to give you my state license number, right? The reason why we go there, now this one, the very first one, it just says, don't pause, go straight to the appointment. Obviously, if they're busy, and they say, I got to go, they're not going to do a one call close, right? So this one, we go straight to setting the appointment. So you set the appointment. Great, no problem. What time do you and the wife usually get back in the door from work? 5:30. Great. I don't have that time available, but I do have a 6 o'clock. Why do I not have 5:30 available? Because I'm busy too, right? I'm not going to feed. If I give them what they want every single time, they're going to think that I'm trying to cater to them. I'm not going to cater to them. They need to work on my schedule. They need me to provide life insurance for them. Okay. And so if we're too busy and we can squeeze them into our schedule, that's going to make them want to show up even more. And that's the philosophy behind it. Okay. And so I may have a 5:30 available, but I'm not going to set it for 5:30. Why? Because if they just walk in the door and I call it 5:30, they're going to be super busy anyways, trying to get all situated and calm down. And, you know, and they may be running a little bit late anyways. So I always tell them, I don't have a 5:30 available, but I do have a 6 o'clock. And here's another tweak. If you give them a multiple choice question, chances are they're going to answer the multiple choice question. If you give them, it's going to be a positive for either way, right? Either one of those multiple choice questions. Here's an example. I don't have a 5:30, but I have a 6 o'clock or I have a 8 p.m. Which one of those best fits you? They're going to answer either one. They have to think outside the box to not answer one of those and tell me, no, I don't have that time available, right? But if they do have that time available, that question just leads them down that path and they can just answer one of those. No big deal, right? And so get them to answer a multiple choice question. So let's say they say 6 o'clock. Great. As far as you know right now, if I called at 6 o'clock, would you guys be available for a quick phone call to go over your options? The only thing I ask is that you have a pen, and let's say they say yes. The only thing I ask is that you have a pen and paper handy, because I'm going to give you some information, some important information that you're going to want to write down. right? I'm telling them that they're going to want to write it down, right? It's important information that they are going to want to write down. Not that I have to give them, that they want to write down, right? Like it's a big secret, but it's not a big secret. Okay, now here's where you want them to understand that you may be a little bit late, right? Okay, due to my schedule, can you give me about a 15 to 30-minute window? But if I do get finished a little bit early, I'll call you a little bit early if that's okay. Yes, you can call me a little bit early. Why do I want to say that last part? Because if they say, yes, you can call me a little bit early, what did they just tell me? They just got done telling me, yes, I can call them, right? And that's what we want them to say. The last thing they said before they got off the phone was, yes, you can call me. You can call me early, right? And so then now I'm going to just put, schedule the appointment. So, okay. So setting the appointment and going to do a one call close are all right here. It's all the same thing. Every time you overcome a rebuttal. When you overcome a rebuttal, you're going to agree with them, get on the same page, give them the rebuttal, and then don't stop. You move on to the next thing. You don't pause. You just move on to the next thing. Okay. And we'll work on that during role play today. I already got it taken care of. Or sometimes they may say, I already have a meeting with another agent. Okay, I ran into that a lot with mortgage leads. Perfect. Now, Joan, most families send back multiple requests to look at different options and compare and make sure that they have the best plan for their family. Is it fair to assume that you guys did the same thing? Yeah. Perfect. Now I'm going to scroll all the way down and I'm going to go for a one call close. Perfect. Real quick, do you have a pen and paper handy? I'm required by the state to give you my license number. And if they go grab a pen and paper, then you're going to give them your license number, your name, and then you just ask them. You're going to start going into the one call close, right? You're going to start presenting to them. You're transitioning to present to them, right? So then I'll ask them while you're doing that, what's a good email so I can email you over my credentials as well? Really, what I want to know is their email so that I know that they know how to work their email. Because the next thing I'm going to do is say, okay, can you look at your email real quick? Did you get my credentials? And what I do is I just send them my license, a picture of me, and I send them a copy of the carrier list. And I use that to kind of transition, right? Now, you guys can do it any way you want to, but that's how I do it. Then what I do is then you start finding the why. You'll go right into finding the why. Okay, most people fill out these forms because they want to add coverage onto what they have, or they just want to put something in place so they don't leave a financial burden to a loved one. Which one of those were you looking at today? We just need to put something in place. Okay, how much were you thinking about putting into place? 15,000. Okay, perfect. As you may or may not know, you can't just go out and buy this coverage. You have to qualify for it. So what I'm going to do is, and then you just go right into the financial inventory. Tell them the process of what's going to happen. You go right into the financial inventory. Okay. And then that's a one call close. Now, any time during that, if they give you an objection, like, I don't have time for this right now, or how long is this going to take? That's one that always comes up, right? Well, it's not going to take too long. I never give them a time. Never say 10 minutes, never say 15 minutes. A lot of people in FFL do, but I never do. And so what I usually do is I'll say, it doesn't take too much time. It just depends on how many questions you have. And then what happens is now it's on them, right? It all depends on how many questions you have, right? So then, as you go through it, if you give them a couple of rebuttals and they still need to get off the phone and you haven't even got halfway done with the application, if you're almost done with the application, just finish the application, right? But if you're towards the middle of the call and they give you an objection and they're like, I can't do this anymore. I have to walk out the door to go to work. Then set the appointment. Then you're going to go right down here. Okay, what time do you and the wife get back in the door from work? Right? That's all you have to do. That's why it's in light green. And then you go to dark green. Okay, so it's kind of color coded. You always go for the one call close first. And then if you can't do that, then you'll go to the dark green. Okay, next rebuttal. How much does it cost? That's a great question. I wish I could tell you right off the bat. That would make my job a heck of a lot easier. But everything is based off of age and health. And this isn't something that you can just buy. You have to qualify for it. But to make your life easier, I'm a broker, or you can use field underwriter. I'm a broker and I have access to 20 A+ rated carriers nationwide. So what that means for you is I get to shop around, customize something that best fits your situation and your needs, but most importantly, fits your budget. Okay, now I just got around I just gave them the rebuttal. I'm not going to stop and I'm going to say, real quick, do you have a pen and paper handy? Okay, so I'm just going to continue right into it. Real quick, do you have a pen and paper handy? If they say, hold on, let me grab one, boom, you're going into the one call close. Okay, that's simple. The next one, can you send me a quote in an email? That's a great question, right? I'm just agreeing with them. I'm getting on their side, right? I want to be friends with them. All we're doing is having conversations. I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to be a salesperson. I want to be a helper, right? We just help people get coverage. That's a great question. I wish I could do that. It would make my job a lot easier. But everything is based off of age and health, and this isn't something you can just buy. You have to qualify for it. But to make your life a lot easier, it's pretty much the same thing. I'm a broker, I'm a field underwriter, and I have access to 20+ A-rated carriers nationwide. So what that allows me to do is customize something that best fits your situation and your needs, but most importantly, fits your budget. Real quick, do you have a pen and paper handy? I'm going to give you my state license number, as we're required to by law to have you write it down. Boom, they're grabbing a pen and paper. If they say, well, I don't have time for that right now, boom, set the appointment. Perfect, no problem. What time do you usually get back you and the wife usually get back in the door from work? Always verify the wife, right? If you say you and the wife and they're not married, or you and the husband and they're not married, they're going to say it's just me. They'll tell you that they're not married, right? But if they do, if they say, well, I get home at 5:30 and they don't say anything about it, you want to ask them specifically, okay, what time does the wife get home? And try to get them both on the phone. Well, the wife don't get home till 7 o'clock. Ooh, I don't have a 7 o'clock. I got a pretty busy schedule, but I can squeeze you in at 7:30. Would that work for you? Now that's a yes or no question, but that works for me because I squeeze them in, right? I'm just squeezing them into an appointment. Right? But the other way to do it is, look, I don't have a 7 o'clock. I got a 7:30 open, or I have a 9 o'clock. Which one best fits you? Let's say you want two of them at the same time. I don't have a 7 o'clock. I got a 7:30 or a 7:45. Which one best fits you? Right? You can do it that way. I have some people that are like, ooh, I don't have a 7 o'clock, but I have a 7:20 or I have a 7:40. Which one best fits you? Now they know you're really trying to squeeze them in, right? Or I have a 8:20 and a 6:20, or a 6:10 and a 6:20, right? You're squeezing them in and they feel that, right? They feel that you're doing the best you can to help them out. Okay, there's all kinds of ways to do it. What we're trying to teach you is to kind of think outside the box, because the scripts are there to get you started, right? You memorize the scripts, now you learn the concepts, right? Well, what's the concept? To verify the information, call them back, verify the information, make sure that they're, and set the appointment, right? And that's all you have to do. And then once you get on the call, then it's a little bit different. Okay, which one are we on? I don't have time this week. Can you call me back next week? Now, this one's a little bit challenging, right? Because sometimes people, they can't do it right now and they're leaving to go out of town in 2 hours, right? So, but you do the best you can. And if you can't do anything, if you just give up, the default answer is always no, every time. And so you have to try, right? Perfect. I definitely understand being busy as we're super backed up right now. In fact, my schedule is booked for the next couple of weeks, but I know how important this is to you and your family. So I wanted to reach out to see to you and see if I could squeeze you in. Do you have a pen and paper handy? By law, I need to give you my state license number. Now, that's happened once. I've done a one call close on a couple that was leaving to go out of town that evening, right? And we just ran through it real quick. I got it done in about 45 minutes and they were happy to do it, right? I didn't ask them. I just went through the motions and they were happy to do it. And they were happy to get coverage before they went on vacation, right? So you got to do the best you possibly can. And that's all you can ask for, right? And you may find out that something that you say works better than what's on here. And that's okay. That's what we want, because if you notice, if you're on live dials, everybody talks a little bit differently. Everybody says something a little bit differently, right? But we all started from pretty much the same script. So how does that work? Well, that's because we're all different individuals. And every single person on the line that we're talking to has a different objection. It's the same objection, but they say it in a different way. And we have our own personalities. They have their own personalities. So we're all bouncing off of each other. These scripts are just basics for you guys to learn from and build your own repertoire, right? Okay. I've gotten so many calls about this. I love this one. I love this one. That's exactly why I'm calling. I want to get you off the list. Most families typically fill out a couple of requests to shop and compare and make sure that they have the best plan for their family. So to make your life easier, I'm a broker or field underwriter, and I have access to about 20 plus A-rated carriers nationwide. I'm probably one of, and this really, really kills it. I'm probably one of maybe 3 brokers in the state of Ohio that has access to so many carriers. What that allows me to do for you is I can shop around, customize something that best fits your situation and your needs, but most importantly, fits your budget. Grab a pen and paper. I'm going to have you write down my state license number as we're required to by law. So you don't even have to ask them to do it. Go ahead, grab a pen and paper. Just tell them, right? Here's the deal. This is really, really cool because most people, they don't know anything about life insurance. They know what it is, but if you ask everybody, what is term and what is whole life? How many people really, really can give you the lowdown and the details of what term insurance and whole life insurance is? Not very many, probably maybe 1 out of 10. It's that low. So if they don't know the difference between term and whole life, how do they know the process? How do they know what they need to go through? How do they know what they need to qualify for? They don't know anything. So if you're just like a doctor and just tell them what they need to do, they're going to listen, especially if you build credibility with them. So you just tell them, okay? Even when you get down at the end and you tell them the price, you just tell them, right? A lot of times what I do is I tell them the price and then I just move on to the beneficiary. I don't even ask them if it'll fit in their budget. I already know their budget. So you don't need to ask. You just say, okay, your price for 150,000 in coverage is going to be $249. Who's your beneficiary going to be? And just move on down the road, right? Okay, so if you're calling older leads, we have aged mortgage leads and final expense mailer leads on sale right now. Okay, they're 50, I believe they're 50% off. Okay, and actually that's starting tomorrow. So Grady put it out on his call. So what kind of objections would you get with that? Well, the number one is I don't remember filling this out, right? It's been 6 months or a year. They don't remember. I totally understand. I love this one too. I totally understand. I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. To refresh your memory, you put down your date of birth as 9/16/75 and your address is 123 Main Street. Is that correct? Well, their address is going to be correct. And if their date of birth is correct, they're going to tell you, yeah, right? Perfect. Families that send this request back, families that send back the request that you did want to make. Oh yeah, okay. Families that send this request back want to make sure that if something were to happen to them, they don't leave a financial hardship to a loved one. Is it fair to say that that's what you filled out the form for? Yes, great. My job is just to go over your options with you. Grab a pen and paper. I'm going to have you jot down my license as we're required to by the state of blah, 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 blah. Whatever your state you're calling. Okay. I'm no longer interested. Perfect. I know this was originally important to you, like it is for every family that sends back these requests. Are you no longer interested because you don't qualify, or you don't think you'll qualify, or you can't afford it? This one is a two-parter, right? And again, it's a multiple choice, right? So on a multiple choice, they are conditioned to answer one of those two questions, right? They may think outside the box and say, well, I just got coverage. Well, great. Now you're a manager. That's the reason why I'm calling here. The girls just brought your information on my desk. I'm a manager. And usually if I get your information, it's because of one of the two reasons. You haven't been helped yet, which it sounds like you have, or they want to make sure that they put you in the best position possible. I want to get you taken off the list, but I need to have some information here. What company did you end up going with? I went with Prosperity. Okay, how much are you paying for that? $150 a month. Okay, and did you get how much coverage did you get? I got 100,000. Okay, is there well, if I could save you a little bit of money, you got a few minutes to see if I could save you a little bit of money? And a lot of times they'll say yeah. They say no, I'm happy with what I got. Boom, you're shot down, right? You do the best you can. You try and do the best you can. Now here, but this rebuttal or this objection is a two-part objection. You're not going to bring up the fact that they got a policy, right? You're just giving them the two options that you want them to answer. Is it because you don't think you can, is it because you can't afford it, or is it because you don't think you'll be able to qualify? Well, I don't think I'll be able to afford it. Okay, I totally get it. I'm a broker and not a salesperson. I have access to about 20 plus A-rated carriers that I can shop around for you. I mean, that's my number one rebuttal right there for almost everything. And I just let them know that everything is all state regulated. And so I'm assuming you're on a fixed income. Yes, I'm getting on their side again, right? And if they're on a fixed income, great. I can help you out. I'll shop around, customize something that best fits your situation, your needs, but most importantly, fits your budget. Grab a pen and paper, boom, right into a one-call close. I don't think I can qualify. I totally get it. Same rebuttal, right? I'm a broker. I'm a field underwriter. I mean, I work with 20 plus A-rated carriers, same rebuttal. Okay, it's super easy when you learn that specific rebuttal because it answers like 80% of the objections out there. No, I'm just not interested. Take me off the list, right? That one is a big one right there. I'm not interested. Perfect. I'm not interested either. Real quick, I'm not a salesperson. I'm a broker, and my job is just to go over the options with you. Grab a pen and paper. And you can even say the rest of the rebuttal. I don't think I put it all in there. Grab a pen and paper. I'm going to give you my state license number and that we're required to by law to do that. So then I give them my name and I go into setting the appointment. Okay. So does everybody understand how that all works? Any questions on that? You guys can unmute if you have a question. No? Cool. All right, so we're at 8:36. We got time for a couple of role plays here. So let's work on setting some appointments and giving some objections. So who wants to go first? Okay, somebody's going to get picked. I'll be the agent. Who wants to be the client? April. Okay, I knew that would get somebody. All right, April. Okay. You ready, April?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
So ring, ring.
Hello.
April, this is Sean Simpson. I'm just giving you a call back here regarding that final expense and burial program or card that you had filled out and sent into our office. This is in regards to the programs that are going on statewide right now. They just want me to go over the options with you. Can you grab a pen real quick and a piece of paper? I'm required by the state to give you my state license.
Man, I don't remember filling anything out. I might have accidentally clicked something online. I don't why. What's this? I didn't even ask for anything.
Yeah, I totally get it. Usually people fill these out because they want to make sure that if something happens to them, that they would not leave a financial burden to a loved one. I got your date of birth here. You actually put down your date of birth as 9/12/1923. Is that you?
Man, I'm really old, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why you couldn't remember it. That's okay. I got your address here as 123 Main Street.
Yeah. Yep, that's it.
Okay, perfect. So grab a pen and paper. Do you have a pen and paper handy?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Sean Simpson. My state license is 1234567 Okay.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
And then what's a good email for you? I'm going to send you over my credentials right now.
It's gonna be sesamestreet@gmail.com.
sesamestreet@gmail.com. I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm sending you over my credentials right now. Can you see them?
I don't know. Let me check my junk mail real fast.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I got it.
Awesome. There should be 3 things in there. One of them is my state license. Do you see that?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Another one is a picture of me. Do you see a bald guy there?
Yep. Yep. I see it.
All right. Yep. So my last name is Simpson. I always tell everybody I look like Homer. I got the bald head. I'm just not as fat. Okay. I do that just to get a chuckle. And then the other one is a picture of the carriers there. Do you see a picture of all the carriers?
Is it like all those logos or something?
Yeah. Yeah. So those are all the providers. Those are all the carriers. So, excuse me. So I'm partnered. I'm probably one of maybe 3 brokers in the state of Nebraska that is partnered with about 20 plus A-rated carriers. Now, I don't say that to brag. I say that because I don't work for one carrier. I work for you. I don't work for any carriers. I work for you. What my job is to do is to shop around for you, customize something that best fits your situation, your needs, but most importantly, fits your budget. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Now we specialize in life insurance, final expense, mortgage protection, and future income planning as well. So we kind of cover the whole gamut of things. Okay. Now, most people fill these out because they want to make sure that if something were to happen to them, that they don't leave a financial burden to a loved one. Is that fair to say that's what you were thinking as well?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Now, were you wanting to add coverage to what you already have, or are you just looking to put something in place because you don't have?
Well, I mean, I don't personally have anything myself. I'm on my husband's, but like through his work.
Through his work. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So your husband's still working? Is he a lot younger than you?
Can we just go with my real age or my pretending?
Okay. All right. Well, let's say you're 56. All right.
Okay.
So you have work coverage. Great. Now we don't count work coverage, and I'll tell you why. It's great, fantastic coverage. Okay. But you're not the owner of the policy. The company you work for is the owner of the policy. Okay. So what that means is they can adjust it up, they can adjust it down, they can even cancel that coverage without you knowing about it. or without you even having a say so in it. Okay.
Wow, yeah.
Here's a quick story. This happened to one of my colleagues. By the way, side note, guys, I tell a lot of stories because stories sell. Okay. So quick story. I have a colleague that had a client call in, and it was a lady that wanted coverage for her daughter because she didn't want her daughter to go through what she had gone through with her husband. And so, of course, he asked what happened with her husband. And she said, well, my husband had been working for a company for 40 years and he had a heart attack, went in for triple bypass surgery. And of course, as you know, triple bypass surgery is a long recovery. Sometimes it could be 4, 6 months, sometimes 8 months. Well, the company calls him back 4 months later and asks, hey, Bob, I don't remember his name. How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. By the way, are you coming back to work? And he says, well, I'd love to come back to work, but the doctor hasn't released me yet. And you probably know where the story's going. 5 months later, the guy ended up passing away. Well, the wife thought she had coverage, but come to find out, she didn't have any coverage and was left holding the bag. What happened was the company that he worked for, had a policy that he didn't know about, that after 4 months, if the client or the worker doesn't come back to work, then they have to take him off the books because the company pays for all that coverage. And so to save money, they have to take him off the books. And so he was left holding the bag. So work
Wow.
policies are great, but they're not, everybody should own their own private coverage. Okay. So you just have the work policy, nothing private.
No.
Okay. So notice I kind of told the story and went right back into it. When you give an objection, you give the rebuttal, go right back into it, right? So you don't have any work coverage. Okay, perfect. As you may or may not know, these plans, you can't just go out and buy, you have to qualify for them. So what I'm going to do here is take 5 minutes, ask you some medical questions. I'm going to take 5 minutes, ask you some finance questions. I'll probably do that first. And then what we're going to do is see from the answers you give me, I'll have an idea of which carrier may qualify for you. Then what we need to do is get you in front of the carrier. Okay. They have no idea who you are. So by doing that, what we're going to do is submit a simple request to the carrier. In that request, they're going to ask for 2 pieces of information that by law, they kind of need to ask for. One of them is a social security number. They need that to verify who you say you are and that you're not taking out insurance in somebody else's name. And then they're also going to ask for a banking institution or a credit union to be on file, like an account number, routing number. If you are approved, usually takes about 2 to 7 days to find out if you're approved. If you are approved, then at that point in time, they're going to take that payment. And then here's the cool part. Here's the part you're going to like. Then you're covered right away without having to pee in a cup, do a blood draw, or a medical exam. Pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't
Yeah.
that just the difference between multiple different types of insurances? Don't some start later and some are right away? So like, are you going to see whether or not I qualify for one that starts immediately or one that starts within 6 months?
No, all of the policies that I'm going to try to get you qualified for will be immediate coverage. They will not be fully underwritten. Fully underwritten means that you have to go get an exam and you're not covered till you get an exam. We don't like the policies because what if you're waiting to get an exam and you croak? We don't want that to happen, do we?
No. So how would I be able to get something that is affordable in my budget?
That's a great question. Let's get into that right now. And then I'll just go right into the financial inventory, right? So I ask all the finance questions, when's your birthday? How old, how tall are you? What do you weigh? What's your occupation? And then what I want to do is find out exactly their income, their take-home income. Okay. What is your income?
Mine and my husband's?
Just yours.
Oh, dang. Let's see, like 54,000.
What is it monthly?
Oh, before taxes or after taxes?
Take home. After
3,800.
3,800.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what is your husband's?
7,200.
7,200?
Yeah.
Okay. So now do you see why, just a side note, right? We're stepping away for a minute. So you said 4,800, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Husband's a 72. That's the reason why we don't get combined income. So now I can come back and I can say, okay, you can see that if something were to happen to you, you got your mortgage, you got all these expenses. You know, if something were to happen to you and you get hurt, sick, or injured, or even pass away, now Bertha is going to have to take the expense for all of that. Right?
Yeah, he makes a lot more than me, so that would suck.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So now I'm going to ask what the expenses are. Okay. What are your household expenses?
Probably around maybe 4,000 a month.
About 4,000 a month.
Well, okay, minus groceries. Okay, so we'll say like maybe like 45 or 46.
Groceries is an expense.
Okay, like 4,600.
So we're going to do, so when I do this, I'll kind of prompt them and I'll say, okay, they want to know, you know, what is your car payment if you have one, gas, insurance, utilities, do you have a mortgage, right? Do you have
So we count like, we don't count like necessity, only necessity. We count like everything, like the
all your monthly expenses,
Okay.
everything that goes out of your pocket to pay expenses, all the food, utilities, right? Because the reason for that is we want to find that gap in between their income and all the money that goes out. That little gap there is what's going to tell you how much their budget is that they can spend on protecting their family for life insurance. Okay.
Okay.
So let's say that your income is 10,000, right? We'll just play with easy numbers. Let's say your income is 10,000 between the both of you. And your income is 2,500, his income is 7,500. Your monthly expenses are $5,000 between the both of you. So we got 10,000, 5,000. That's a $5,000 spread. But the majority of that comes from his income. So you take away his income, how much is left? 2,500 of your income.
So I wouldn't even be able, I mean, I could pay my mortgage.
You wouldn't even, you could pay your mortgage, but you wouldn't be paying any monthly expenses, right?
Yeah.
So now you know that you need life insurance, right? Because and that's what we want to get them to understand. Now look, April, it looks like your husband makes the majority of the money, right? And on this call, your husband would probably be on the call too, right?
Yeah.
George, it looks like you make the majority of the money. If something were to happen to you, you get hurt, sick, or injured, and I'll tell a story again. What happens if you get in a bad car accident, but you don't die, you live, and you're all beat up, and you can't get out of the bed, you can't go to work. The company's not going to pay you if you don't go to work, and if you're gone for a long period of time, they may even let you go. So what happens if you can't do that? Are you guys going to have to sell the house? How are you going to help pack up the house if you're all laid up in bed?
Okay, so like, would you be able to do like if somebody wanted some sort of life insurance, but also wanted to make sure, you know, do a large enough life insurance so that their funeral and their mortgage, what's left of it, as well as like leaving some money to like their young kids? How would you be able to? Okay,
you could do that
affordably,
right? So after I get through there, I'm not done yet, right? We're still in the financial inventory part of the financial inventory, right? So I found out the spread. Now I'm going to ask the health questions, because the health questions are going to dictate which carrier I can go with. And the carrier is going to dictate which policy and how much coverage they can have, right? So now I'm going to ask the health questions. Okay, are you a smoker, non-smoker?
does drinking count?
No, smoking.
Oh, dang it. Yeah, both really heavy.
Both are really heavy smokers?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had a heart attack, stroke, mini stroke, or cancer?
No, nothing like that.
Okay. Any stents?
No,
Any diabetes or neuropathy?
no.
Okay. Any high blood pressure?
I mean, one time when I was pregnant, but does that count now?
When were you pregnant?
14 years ago. Oh
Okay.
wait, I'm 54. 40, wait, 32 years ago.
Okay. So you haven't had, how long have you been not taking the high blood pressure medicine?
Probably for 30 years.
Okay. Not a problem. Any lupus or rheumatoid arthritis?
No, but it's in
As-
my family. Does that count?
Yeah, that could look bad. So then under family, I would write down lupus or rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay. What about CHF? That's in my family too.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and strokes
So
in.
now, under family, I'll write down CHF.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm good though.
Okay, cool. What about thyroid, anxiety, depression?
No, none of that stuff.
Any kidney or liver disease?
No.
Have you ever had COVID?
Yeah.
Were you hospitalized?
Nope.
No?
Mm-mm.
Perfect. Any felonies or misdemeanors in the last 10 years?
No, thank the Lord.
Okay, so what medicines have you taken in the last 5 years?
Just some ibuprofen.
Just some ibuprofen. Are there any medicines that the doctor prescribed to you that you decided, you know what, I feel pretty good. I don't think I need to take these anymore. And you just stopped taking them.
Something for the bowels or something. I don't remember. It was like maybe 4.5 years ago or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Not a big
I
deal.
think maybe IBS or something like that. I can't remember because I figured it was my diet.
Okay, no problem. So I'm going to recommend a company called Americo.
Okay.
And since you have a and then what I would do is I would either determine how much coverage they need, right? So this would be a final expense lead, right? But I found out that you have some income, right? And that you have 5,000 in between there, and that you were looking for some final expense. Do you have a mortgage?
Yeah.
Okay, how much do you owe on your mortgage?
Well, it was a 30-year. I don't know. My husband handles that stuff, but I know it's like a little over 2,100 a month.
How much do you owe though for the full amount?
I mean, it was originally like 320. We've been paying on it for the last 18 years. I'm not good at math, so
18 years. Okay. So you owe somewhere under 200,000, about half.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. If we were to find something to cover your mortgage and your final expenses, would I be doing my job?
I mean, I would want a little bit more. We have 4 kids, so
Okay. So
I think I want to leave them like, I don't know, not a whole bunch because, they got good jobs, but something maybe like 5,000 or so, maybe each, just to,
so an extra 20,000 to leave behind.
yeah, have a little
Okay.
bit in savings or something.
So we have 200,000 for your mortgage,
Would that
right?
be possible?
Yeah, it's possible. I can't guarantee anything. It's all up to the carriers.
Okay.
But we have 200,000 for the mortgage. You have 15,000 for burial, right? For you. And then
Mhm.
you want to leave 20,000 extra behind to your kids, right?
Yeah.
So we have 235,000. Okay. You ever heard of a company called Americo?
I think I seen them like on the side of a bus or something before.
Okay. Yeah, they're a great company. They've been around for 110 years. They're out of Kansas City, Missouri. So they have a 2-part application. And for the first part, I'm going to ask you some questions and I'm going to send you a HIPAA form. Do you know what a HIPAA form is?
Yeah, my husband's a nurse.
Okay, so it's basically the same thing as the nurse's office or the doctor's office. It basically says that me and America, we can't share your information with anybody. It also allows them to do a prescription check against the MIB. Okay.
So I could just trust you then.
Well, yeah, you can trust me. You can trust America. You can trust them.
Pretending like I'm a fake person, but
Okay. Okay, so I'll go into the application. Then I send the HIPAA form back. Then as the HIPAA form comes back, it's going to, and I let you know this is how I set it up for the process. Okay, so the way it works is you're going to sign a HIPAA form. Then it's going to come back and it's going to say one of two things. It's going to say either declined. And if it says decline, no big deal. We'll just pivot to another carrier. The other thing it may say is continue asking questions. If it says that, that's a good thing. That's what we want, but that does not mean that you have been approved. That means that America is giving us permission to submit a request to them. Okay. Then at that point in time, I'm going to go over all your benefits and then I'll fit it into your budget and we'll submit a request. Okay.
sounds good.
Okay. So again, now that's the second time that I told her that we're going to submit a request. Right. And that's the second time that I said we're going to submit it into their budget. Right. And all I'm doing is getting her to agree and nod on the other end of the phone with me, agreeing with me along the way. Right. They already know, she already knows she has to give up her social security number, her bank account information in the application once we get there. Okay.
Does that do a credit check?
It does not do a credit check.
Okay.
No. Okay. So now I'm done with the application. It came back. And okay. So when I'm in the Marico application, the way I do it is even if it comes back, so this is a side note now, we're not role playing right now. If it comes back and it says continue asking questions, I'm still continuing on to ask all the questions. I'm not going to stop right there and say, oh, it says that you got past the MIB. I'm not going to do all of that stuff. I'm asking all the questions all the way up until I get to the beneficiary stage. And then I stop right there. And I'll say, okay, we're at the beneficiary stage, but hold on a second. Let me see if it came back. And all I do is I check mark that little tab up in the right corner of the application. It's a drop-down menu. I go back to the products page. And now I already know it came back, right? Otherwise, the yellow box pops up. Now I'm going to say, okay, cool. It says you continue asking questions. And I reiterate, that doesn't mean that you've been approved because I'm taking it away. Now I'm going to give it back. But what that does mean is that I can go over all the options with you and we can fit it into your budget and submit a request. Okay. So then I'll go over all the options and I'll say, okay, they have a couple of different, I'm looking at your budget here, right? You got $5,000 of extra income. Now, most people, not everybody, but most people, the rule of thumb is they're willing to spend 10% of their monthly income that's extra on life insurance. So on $5,000 extra, right? Because we have $10,000 income, $5,000 in expenses, there's a $5,000 spread there, right? Most people are comfortable with spending about $500 on a premium, okay? Now, some may not, some will, but that's the average. Some will spend more, right? So the way I position that is I would say, okay, you have a mortgage of, we need to cover $235,000. Okay. You're 54 years old. We have a policy out there that has a ton of living benefits. So grab a pen and paper. I'm going to go over all of your benefits. So now this is where I want them. This is how I'm going to sell the policy. This is the build the value stage of the policy. Okay. And if I make the value big, then when I go to price condition and then I tell them the price, it's going to be small, right? So we want the price to be small compared to the value of the policy that they're going to get. And so with Americo, it's really easy because it's 100% benefits of everything, right? And so I'll tell them this. This is how I present it. I'll say, I know we're running out of time, but I want to kind of continue through this. Are you guys cool with that? Yeah. Is this a value to you? Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, I'll say everything is based off of the face amount. Okay. The face amount is also the death benefit. So imagine them, they got their piece of paper out, they're writing on their piece of paper, and I'm going to tell them exactly what to write. My goal is to have them have a line items all the way down their paper with nothing but benefits. So they can visualize everything that I'm going to say to them, right? So that way they can see the value is this big on their piece of paper, because they're not going to have anything negative except for the little bitty price I tell them at the end, right? But that's a negative to everybody because nobody wants to pay for it. Nobody wants to pay for insurance, right? So the face amount is $235,000. That's a death benefit, right? So if you were to die, then George, whatever your husband's name is, George will get a tax-free benefit of $235,000. Now, notice, guys, this is a big deal because you guys probably didn't even pick it up. But when you're in home, people can see your reaction. They can feel your spirit. They can read your body language, okay? But when you're on the phone, they don't have any of that. The only thing they have is voice inflection, okay? So if you notice, I got really excited about the death benefit, right? And I'm going to get excited about the living benefits, because if I get excited, you're going to get excited and they're going to get excited, right? That's what we want them to do. We want our energy to transfer right through that phone. Okay. So $235,000, that's the death benefit. And guess what? It's tax-free. That's a savings right there, because if you have income, the government is going to charge you an inheritance tax. This is not taxed. It's under the life insurance umbrella. So Uncle Sam cannot stick his hands in it. So that saves you a ton of money right there. Okay. So that's benefit number one. So they're writing down face amount, $235,000, death benefit. Now I'm going to tell them, okay, April, the rest of these benefits are all for you while you're still living. Okay. Write down chronic illness. And then right next to it, write down $235,000. Okay. I didn't say 100%. I want them to write down a big number, right? I want 235 listed all the way down, right? This is a term, this is a mortgage protection client, right? It came in, remember at the beginning of this call, it came in as a final expense. But I found out through the financial inventory that you have a mortgage. So now I can sell you a term policy to cover your mortgage, right? We're selling the client for whatever we can do to help them. Okay. So now write down chronic illness, and right next to it, write down $235,000. Okay. Now, what is chronic illness? Well, if you have a heart attack, stroke, kidney damage, liver damage, cancer, anything that's going to give you a life-threatening disability, you can withdraw up to 100% of the policy, up to $235,000. Pretty cool, huh?
So I could just use that to pay like my medical bills or pay for somebody to come take care of me at my house? Or is there an insurance
that's a great question. Yes, you can. The check comes to you. It does not go to your mortgage company. So let's say 10 years from now, you paid down your mortgage a little bit. Maybe you only owe $175,000. Guess what? You still get a check for $235,000. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so next one, write down critical illness. And then right next to it, write down $235,000. Okay, now we got 235. What is critical illness? Well, this is your 6 daily living activities. Each and every one of us has to be able to perform 6 daily living activities in order to stay independent. You do it every day, whether you know it or not. You have to be able to feed yourselves, medicate yourselves, dress yourselves, bathe yourselves, toilet, and you have to be able to transfer, which is walking, getting in and out of bed, moving about, right? If for some reason you can't perform just 2 of the daily 6 living activities, you can withdraw up to 100% of the policy, $235,000. Pretty
But
cool.
then yeah, that's really awesome. I'm just concerned that, like, if I were to use that during that time, then there would be nothing left if I die.
Exactly. Yep, you got it right.
So I would
But
have
you're
to
also
try.
not going to have a mortgage either.
Oh, okay.
And you're also going to be able to take the 15,000 and put it in your bank account or some kind of a fund to help grow the policy,
Okay.
to help grow your funds.
I
Right?
couldn't start a new one because now I'm sick, right?
You can start a new one. You would just go with a different type of a policy.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next benefit is called terminal illness. Terminal illness. Right next to it, write down $235,000. Now, I'm going to tell you a story. This is a true story. 2019, I have a friend of mine that passed away. He had a canker sore in the back of his throat, and he went in to the doctor and said, "Doc, I can't get rid of this canker sore." And the doc says, "Well, let's test it." And the doc says, "Well, you have cancer." So they cut out half of his tongue. They put him through chemo and killed all the cancer and went dormant. Goes back in for a 4-month checkup. Come to find out his cancer went metastatic. It traveled throughout the rest of his body. 2 months later, he ended up dying. He left 4 little boys behind under the age of 10, and he was 32 years old. True
That's
story.
tragic.
His
Very
wife
tragic.
had to move back to Arizona to live with her family because she couldn't afford the mortgage. If something like that were to, it happens to everybody, right? They say that 1 out of 2 men will have cancer sometime in their life. 1
No,
out of
thank
3
you.
women will have cancer,
Mm-mm.
right? So if something like that were to happen, this would pay off the mortgage and protect the family. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. Okay, so the next benefit, this is my favorite benefit. It's called CBO, right? This benefit, if you outlive the policy, we're not going to say if, but when you outlive the policy, it's going to pay you all your money back. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that
So
means
write
my
down
husband
cash.
would get that?
What's that?
Oh, wait, okay, so that means if I stay alive past that policy ending date, then I would get all that money.
Yes, you get
Okay.
all of your money back at the end. Yeah.
Okay.
So this, if we were to calculate this out, well, when they give me the price, I'll calculate it out for you and show you. Okay. This
Okay.
is also the next benefit. So write down cash back. And then underneath that, write down level premium. You've probably heard of those policies that after 5 years, they go up because of your age. And then 5 years later, they go up again. This is not one of those policies. You're 54 years old. And so at 60, you're still going to be paying on it as if you were 54 years old. That's why it's important to do it today, because today is the cheapest it's ever going to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I commend you for doing that today.
Will I have to be checked again in like 10 years of like health conditions?
Nope, you won't, because if it's
Awesome.
approved, you're good to go.
Okay.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, I like that.
You notice how I keep saying pretty cool throughout the whole thing? I'm getting them to agree with me every single time. Every time, right? So then I'll say, okay, is there any questions on that?
I think I asked a lot during the time that you were speaking, so I'm good.
Okay, perfect. All right. So let me get you a pricing. And to be honest with you, I already got it on the pricing page. I already know what it's going to be. And so now what I'm going to do is price condition her. So as you can imagine, these policies aren't always the best price, right? Nobody wants to pay for insurance, but we pay for insurance for our car because we don't want anything to happen to it. But if it does, it covers our car, right? We pay for homeowners insurance because if something happens to our house, then we can have a new house, right? Even though we don't want to pay for it, we pay for it. We pay for cell phone insurance, right? We carry around $1,000 computers in our pocket, so we want to insure them, right? And so now we're going to insure our life so that if something happens to you, that it doesn't take away from your income. It'll supplement your income, right? But as you know, these aren't cheap. In fact, you're 54 years old. I just got a client covered that was 60 and he was a male and his premium was a little over $700 a month.
Wow.
Worry about that though, because yours is going to be a little bit cheaper because you're female and you're younger. Okay.
Okay.
So let me plug some numbers in here. So you see what I'm doing? I'm kind of making the price go way up there. I want to get the shock value out of the way. Right now, I'm going to say, okay, so for you, actually, for this policy, yours is going to be $439 a month.
Okay. That's not bad.
So who's your beneficiary going to be?
My husband.
Okay, perfect. So I type in the beneficiary, go through all of that, and then we put in the banking information, right? So then when I get to the banking stage, I'll just say, okay, I'm at the banking stage here now. Do you want it to come out of a checking or a savings?
Oh, we'll do the checking.
Okay, perfect. And where do you bank at?
We're at PFCU.
PFCU? Okay. What does that stand for?
I don't know the acronym, but I just know that's what it is.
Okay. And what town is it in?
Lansing, Michigan.
Okay. PFCU. I'm typing PFCU Lansing, Michigan routing number in Google, and it's going to pop up the routing number. Say, okay, it pulls up a routing number here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can you grab a check real quick to verify that?
Yeah, my daughter put the app on my phone, so I can just open that up and confirm that with you. Okay. Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep, it is.
It is. Perfect. Now, what's the account number?
784372.
You don't have to give your real account number, April.
It's not.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Wait, I was about to write that down.
It's not.
Okay. So, okay, cool.
Great actress.
So then I know she's doing fantastic.
Oh my God.
So then at the end of that, then obviously I'm done with the application. Okay. So when I close out the call, I'll say, okay, I'm all finished up here. And then I have an assistant, or if you don't have an assistant, do it yourself. Say, okay, I'm going to give you a call back in about 24 to 48 hours and let you know if you've been approved. I don't ever tell anybody they've been approved right away. Why? Because this allows me to have a reason to call them back. I want to call them back in 24 to 48 hours. Why? Because now I can remind them of the benefits. I can also remind them the purpose of their why. Why are they doing this? I can also figure out, are they feeling good about this policy? Are they feeling bad? Is it too much money for them? Do they need to adjust it down? Okay. And so that's why I let them know, look, I'm going to be calling you back here in about 24 to 48 hours to let you know if you've been approved. If we haven't heard anything, I'll call you back anyways and just update you. Okay. And they'll say, yeah. And the more you call back and the more you do what you say you're going to do, the less chargebacks you're going to get. Okay. 24 hours, call them back right the next day. It's still fresh in their minds. They're going to be busy. If they're busy, leave a voicemail. So just calling you regarding your policy, give me a call back at your earliest convenience, 402, blah, 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 blah. Right. And so then that gives them a chance to, do whatever, tell you whatever is on their chest, whatever their husband and wife talked about, Maybe they want a policy. Sometimes at that time you can even ask them, look, did I do a good job for you? Yeah, you did a fantastic job. I know that there's a lot of people out there that are looking for life insurance, but they have no idea where to turn. Do you know anybody that is looking for a policy that so they can protect their family? I'm looking for like 5 names. Can you come up with 5 for me real quick? You don't have to give them to me now, but can you think of 5 people? Well, I can think of 3. Boom, there you go. Even 1 is good, right? So, okay, do me a favor. Can you shoot me over a text, put me in a text thread with that person? And that way introduce me, and then that way I can kind of take the conversation over from there. Would that be okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you have a referral, right? Now you have a connection. Now they're referring you to their whoever they're referring to, right? And now you can start a conversation that way. So we just went through a whole final expense, transitioned into a mortgage call. April, you did a fantastic job. We are way over on our time. That went 20 minutes over. I super hope you guys got a lot of value out of this. It was fun doing this, and we're going to do this every single week. So we're going to finish up right here. And other than that, you guys have a fantastic evening.
Sean, quick question.
Sure.
When they pay out the face value of the, if you outlive the policy, the face value, when they pay it out, is tax-free, 100% tax-free. But let's say you live out the policy and they give you the return on premium, that's not taxed, right? Because you already paid tax on it when you got paid.
That's correct. It's not taxed.
Okay.
And Sean, did you put your rebuttal stuff in the chat earlier or something? Or
yeah,
that something? Okay. Would you mind putting that back up again, please?
I'll just email it to you because I'm going to end it. Oh, April,
Okay.
she can send it over to you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Can you email it to me as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I can.
Thank you.
James, you have a question real quick. James, did you have a question?
No, women first.
You have a question, April?
No, but Tanya's hands up. Or wait, that's clapping. Well, that's
I am sorry. I have a question.
Oh, you did have a question, Tanya? I'm sorry. I didn't see that. I had my chat over on that side. Go ahead, Tanya.
So, is there like a copy of the sales playbook? How if when I'm new to the team? I'm just wondering, where can I get a copy of the sales playbook?
The objection handling.
The conversation that you just did, the entire script. Is there one or no?
No, that's kind of the way I do it. I don't really have I have a sales script for the setting the appointment, but I don't really have a script for the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Right. But this call is recorded. You can go back and listen to it, and you can do whatever you want.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I see.
So once it gets put up there, I'll let you know.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. Good night, everyone.
Yep.
Go real quick.
Yeah, James, go ahead.
Yep. So you wound up doing a mortgage protection, but did you do the final expense as well for the funeral or no?
Yeah, we did. Remember, she had said that she didn't know how much the mortgage was, and she knew it was around 200,000. And then we had talked about 15,000 for the final expense, and then she wanted to leave 20,000 behind to the kids. So that's how we came up with the $235,000 number.
Copy that. Thanks, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have
Mortgage.
a quick question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So if you were to sell someone a term policy in that manner, and they April had mentioned that she was worried about not having any coverage if she were to she wouldn't have a death benefit if she were to pull it out for a chronic illness. If that's something someone's worried about, would you sell them a term policy and then also try to sell them a whole life policy at the same time?
I've done that before. Yeah.
Okay.
I've done that before.
Thank you.
You could also, if they're healthy enough, you can also hook them up with an IUL.
Okay.
And IUL will go all the way till age 100.
Okay.
And they can
Gotcha.
also, if they're healthy, they can use that as a tax-free retirement as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Thank you for
Okay.
that.
Tanya, did you have another question?
Real quick, is there a handbook for FFL or no? We just go to the trainings and just take notes.
Yeah. So once you get contracted, go through the contracting, you're going to go through a boot camp. And the boot camp will have all of that information in here that we just went over. And there will be more information. So you're definitely not going to be missing out on information. If there's something that you need that you don't have after you get through the boot camp, just let me know. If you need me to make a script, then I can do that. I'll take the time to do that. But you got to go through the boot camp first, because that's all the basics of FFL, the processes, the leads, everything.
That's fine.
Does that make
Thank you,
sense,
Shannon.
Tanya?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions since we're here? No? Cool. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful evening. It was a pleasure.